After 3 weeks of using the Glasswork Polarity as my main mousepad, I think I finally understand what they meant when they said it disappears under your mouse. I've tested over 20 glass pads, and this is the first time I've genuinely stopped thinking about the surface that I'm using and just been able to play. So for context, I currently mainly play Valorant, Marathon, and I've recently picked up Apex, so a mix of tactical precision and tracking heavy gameplay. I've tested a fair amount of glass pads before this, but the Polarity did give hopes of a unique experience, so I had pretty high expectations going in. And in all honesty, it did still exceed those expectations. The most notable performance feature of the Polarity, in my opinion, is its versatility. It uses what they call a Glenova glass surface with a 7-layer composite construction, and in practice, it really does land right in that middle ground between speed and control. It's fast when you need it to be, especially in tracking heavy scenarios, but it never feels out of control. At the same time, when I'm playing something like Valorant, I still feel locked in enough to hit precise shots. That true sense of balance, the right amount of speed working in conjunction with the right amount of control is what makes it easy to live with day to day. And after testing other products, I do put the Polarity back on my desk afterwards. And that's just a testament to how good the mousepad is. Another great feature of the Polarity is the skin feel. Long gaming periods tend to make my hands clammy or sweaty depending on the temperature, and thus far I've had zero moisture issues even without using an arm sleeve, which in my experience is rare for glass. On top of that, the skin stick resistance is probably some of the best that I've felt on any glass pad so far. It doesn't get sticky feeling over long periods of gaming. It just feels great. So again, it feeds back into this idea of fading into the background when you're gaming, which is exactly what the pad is marketed as. In titles such as Call of Duty, Apex, and other tracking heavy games, the speed is definitely there. Micro adjustments feel effortless, and there isn't an inconsistency in the glide across the mousepad. But what impressed me more was how it performed in tactical FPS titles such as Valorant. Usually with glass, you're sacrificing some level of stopping power, or you're encumbered with an overbearing feeling of stopping power that detracts from the essence of why I've opted for a glass pad in the first place. But here, it feels controlled enough to confidently take duels without over flicking. It's not a control pad, but it's controlled enough to handle both ends of the spectrum, which is why I've stuck with it as my main for the past 3 weeks. So to touch on build quality and design then, the build quality is easily some of the best I've seen. The edges are super rounded and beveled, and honestly the most comfortable that I've felt on any glass. And because of that, you get a real sense of a more premium manufacturing process when it comes to the Polarity. Though the past 3 weeks of gaming on the mousepad, I've had absolutely no wrist discomfort, and I feel like that's definitely due to not just the height of the glass pad, but also, these rounded edges. Design wise, it's very minimal. There's no flashy graphics, and it's just a clean geometric style that stays true to this whole, don't think about it, just play philosophy. And I opted for the 490 by 420 size in black, but there's also larger options if you need that for your space. And in terms of the base, it's a custom base and it's very rigid. It doesn't move around on your desk from my own experience. The unboxing experience is also solid. The box itself feels premium. It opens cleanly, and inside you get a Glassworks branded microfiber cloth, which I haven't opened yet because I have too many darted around. You get a set of 20 Glassworks skates, and I've heard great things about these as well. And you also get a note explaining the design philosophy of the Polarity itself. I currently have RS Hyperglides on my one, and they've been very performant over the past 2 weeks that I've been using them on the Polarity. I've also tried other skates as well, but I've just been enjoying the RS skates on the pad so much. And all in all, I feel like the unboxing experience is a nice touch, and it adds to the overall premium feel of the Polarity itself. In all honesty, I have no gripes with the Polarity. However, it could be argued that the main drawback really comes down to its identity. Because it is a middle ground pad, it doesn't fully specialize in either extreme. So if you are in the market for a glass pad with maximum speed or maximum control, this might not be the perfect fit for you. But that's also kind of the point. It doesn't lend itself to extreme control or extreme speed, but it does excel in both. So what's the verdict? The Polarity is one of the best, if not the best, glass pad on the market at the moment, and I did forget about it during day-to-day use as intended. The pad is consistent, comfortable, easy to maintain, and versatile enough to handle both tactical shooters like Valorant and tracking heavy games like Apex. The fact that the Polarity operates with a never out of stock batch pre-order process strays from formal serialized releases that many companies have gravitated towards, which is a big plus. So if by some feat you manage to damage this sturdy slab of glass, you will be able to replace it without a headache. If you're coming from cloth and want to try glass, this is probably one of the safest and most well-rounded entry points. For me, it's been my main for the past few weeks and I don't see it changing anytime soon. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, drop a sub and hit the notification bell, as I will be dropping a lot more reviews in the near future.